So last week I talked about writing multiple books at once and how that can be chaotic. Writing a series can be just as chaotic. So when I started my Mafia series, it was actually kind of weird. I actually started from the middle and worked my way out. It was completely by accident. So what would be like what I guess would be like considered like book 3 or whatever, like actually was like book 1, and then I'm like, oh wait, then I got this other idea of this other family, and I just kind of tied it all in. Sometimes when we're writing a series, it can take a toll on a lot of different things like mental health. Initially I had my series written as a 7-book series. In the last week or so, I've made the decision to break that up. So the Beast and the Viper are a duet, and the other books after that are a spin-off series of novellas. When I had my kid, it got really hard to find time to write. My creativity was just gone for the most part because I was so sleep deprived that it was hard for me to even come up with a sentence. And I'm still sleep deprived because he's not sleeping through the night. And I'm working full time. So it's very exhausting. So I made the decision that for the greater good of my mental health and the series, it was best to break it up into a spinoff and do a novella series of the spinoff, which is what it has now become. The good news is that I already had enough written of the other 4 books to make a novella. I just didn't have enough to make a full-length book. And honestly, some of the storylines, they were not going to be full-length because it wouldn't have felt right. So 2 out of the 4 were already set to be novellas. And one of them was teetering on it because I'm like, well, I'm not really sure what else I can add in the next 30,000 words. So again, for the sake of my mental health and all that good jazz, I decided to go ahead and call it and just say we're going to do a spin-off series and it's novellas. Sometimes when we're writing a series, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we want it to be perfect. We want it to be a bestseller. We want it to be amazing. But sometimes that pressure is not sustainable and it's not healthy. And it can create us to just lose our creativity sometimes. So if you're writing a series or you're thinking about a series, do not put a lot of pressure on yourself. Do not do that to yourself because it's just going to come back and get you in the long run. But if you do want to write a series, I suggest starting with a spreadsheet because it got to the point where I needed a spreadsheet just to keep track, not really of names, but more like quirks. So like, for instance, Connor is scared of spiders, okay? And Carrick hates pizza. So I had to keep those little facts together. So like, if I did put it somehow somewhere in the next book, it wouldn't be surprising to readers where they're like, since when does he not like pizza, right? So that wouldn't have been a problem. So just keep a spreadsheet of like the different like quirks and stuff like that. That's the easiest way to do the series. I will not probably ever take on a series where I have to create everything from scratch. And I mean, like, when we're talking about, like, romantasy. Romantasies are more along this line, where they come up with, like, all these different new languages and terminologies and a whole new world, basically. I'm going to be honest, I do not have that kind of creativity to do that. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I do not. Anyone that can, kudos to you, because I cannot. I honest cannot, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, what would the realm be called? What would this be called? Yeah, I can't even think of those simple things. So when it comes to like romantasy series where I'm completely creating a whole new world, it's not happening. So like Game of Thrones level, not happening. It's just not happening. Yeah, that's way above my creativity level. But anyone who can, that's great. Now, if you're going to do that, I definitely suggest multiple spreadsheets, multiple workbooks in Excel, multiple. Because I had a hard time sometimes just with my Mafia series. Just with my Mafia series, I had a hard time. And I still kind of have a little bit of a hard time. Sometimes I still have to go back to the spreadsheet. But could you imagine creating a whole other world on paper? That's insane. It's amazing, but it's insane. So definitely do a spreadsheet for that. So, but yeah, that's kind of like the update with like my series and just writing a series overall. I just wanted to be like very transparent because, you know, sometimes we get these ideas in our mind and we get these ideas, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And then we're not failures, but in some way we might feel like a failure if we don't meet that timeline. Now, being an indie author, you get to pick your deadlines, which is great, but sometimes I'm extremely hard on myself when I do not meet that deadline. So, and my goal was to have my series completely out and published by like spring of next year. And it slowed down because, you know, I had my kid and then all these other things started kind of happening and it's like, oh, great. So now I'm like behind, but like now that I made it a novella, it's like I feel better about what I'm putting out there. I feel like I'm putting out my best work and not something to meet word count. So keep that in mind, even when you're writing just a book, not even a series, just a standalone. Sometimes quality, well, honestly, in my opinion, quality is always better than quantity, right? So like if you have an amazing story, people are going to read it no matter if it's 40,000 words or 70,000 words. It's just how it is. And some people do not have very long attention spans, so novellas are kind of their thing. There's a market for everything. So yeah, just throwing it out there. Don't be hard on yourself. Just write. Don't think about deadlines. Don't put, you know, pressure on yourself to make this series amazing. Just give it what you can. And at the end of the day, be proud of it. Even if it means you have to scale back a little bit. Quality over quantity. And I'll see you guys next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about paperback books. So yeah, tune into that. And don't forget to click subscribe so you can know all the details. Bye.